watching News 24 Live. Was it a try or wasn't it a try? Perhaps the biggest talking point from this weekend's test match between the Wallabies and the Springboks in Brisbane. To discuss this issue further, I'm joined in studio by none other than former test referee Jonathan Kaplan. We're going to discuss some of the officiating decisions from Saturday's test. Jonathan, how conclusive was that TMO evidence and decision for that Kurandrani try that won the game for the Wallabies, essentially?
Yeah, look, I think, always when you get a tough call like that at the end of the game, there's a lot of emotions running high. A tough way for either team to lose the game. But that's why the TMO is there. He has to make those calls, those brave calls. And I think in this particular case, as much as it hurts South Africa, I think he may have got it right. The reason being is that Kurandrani didn't, make a second movement. He was trying to place the ball, and I do think that there is evidence to suggest that the tip of the ball actually did touch the try line. And as much as the effort of Schalkberger, the rearguard effort of Schalkberger to save that situation must be commended, I still think the TMO did actually get the decision right. In addition to that, if you say that you're not happy with the evidence, and I don't think you can, but let's say the evidence is not conclusive enough, there's a very strong argument to suggest that a penalty try could have and would have been given if a try wouldn't have been scored, because that's really only when a penalty try can be given. And the reason I say that is because if you take Schalkberger's actions, he never arrived through the gate, and he never arrived on his feet either. I think the TMO's got it right, unfortunately for South Africa. And whether Australia deserved to win or not, that's a moot point, because I thought South Africa did really well in many aspects of the game. But in terms of that decision, he got it right.
Jonathan, I know when you have that sort of touch and go try decisions, the referee often asks, try or no try, is there a reason for me not to award this try? Can you just explain to us briefly what the difference is between those sort of different requests from the TMO?
So if the evidence in this, the ref asked try, no try. If the evidence in this particular case would have been 50-50, in other words, they're not sure that a try would have been scored, then the result is inconclusive and a 5-meter scrum is awarded. If the ref asks the second question, which is, give me a reason why I can't award it, in other words, I think a try has been scored, and you then can't find the evidence, then it means you must award the try because the ref thinks that it's a try. So the one is the ref has no idea, please help. The other one is, I think it's a try, cover my back if I'm wrong.
Okay.
In this particular case, he had no idea, so he asked the first question, and I think the correct answer came back. There is evidence that the tip of the ball is touching a blade of grass on the try line.
Okay. Now, let's talk about the preceding penalty. There was talk that Northern Hemisphere referees don't like that sort of rolling out the clock, and he was guilty of sealing off the ball. Is that something that Northern Hemisphere refs are quite sticky about?
I don't really buy that. I think there's a number of issues at stake here. First of all, the consistency of application. In Super Rugby, I can show you 20 matches where the referees allowed the clock to be wound down, and notwithstanding the accuracy or inaccuracy of Hanke van der Merwe's clean out, there was still a threat there, and he tried to remove the threat. So, but having said that, I hate games being wound down by the pick and drive. Don't think that's the way rugby was designed to be played. So philosophically, I think that's the right path to be on, but it then needs to be applied consistently. And if you remember a few years ago, Kurtley Beale kicked a 50-meter penalty in Bloem for exactly the same infringement, where Flip van der Merwe lost his feet and ended up landing on the ball carrier, was unfortunately, and I'm not sure correctly, but was unfortunately penalized. And and you know, Australia won that test in Bloem as well. So I think it's quite an unfortunate way, but I think philosophically it's the right path to go on. Just need all referees to be on the same page, and I can say categorically that in Super 15 this wasn't the case. I'm not sure that it's a Northern Hemisphere thing. I think it may be a Nigel Owens thing, that he demands accuracy if you're going to try and wind the clock down, and it is a dangerous pursuit. And I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say that he would be consistent in this type of play. I don't know if you remember a couple of years ago, Ireland were beating New Zealand,
Yes.
and he penalised Ireland for leaving their feet. In a similar situation, New Zealand ended up going 3/4 the length of the field and scoring the winning try.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say Nigel's been inconsistent in that respect, but I do think that refereeing, you know, then obviously the fraternity, the world body, needs to look at a generic, so a template that you know, the rest of the referees can function effectively in.